Hey fellow explorers of the Caribbean, it's me, Mario, and today we are gonna have a different video from what I had in mind for Maracaibo. Of course, we are going to talk about Maracaibo, but I won't talk about general strategy as I usually do, like beginner strategy or things like that, because I'm not sure yet of what is a good way to frame the game. I'm winning quite a lot, I would say. I didn't lose many games. I'm experimenting a lot in the game, and I see there are a lot of different things that you can do. So, what I would like to do instead is ranking all the cards in Maracaibo, not in terms of power level, but in terms of bundles, because I think all cards fall in some bundles, and those bundles will play better in some setups and are just like general strategic directions you should use to have a direction in your games. So today it's gonna be a bit of a different video. I'm gonna talk about all the cards in Maracaibo, and while I'm gonna talk about them, of course, a lot of strategic bits will drop off. So hopefully you're gonna enjoy it. Let me know in the comments because it's a bit different from what I usually do. Let's start with some of the most iconic cards in Maracaibo. Oh, by the way, a lot of the cards fall in between different bundles. I will just place them in the bundle that I think is the most important for them. And then we can discuss a bit why is that. So, the Sailor gives you 1 more combat points whenever you combat, and it gives you 2 more coins as an income, and 2 more if you have either a house or an harbor. So, I would put it in the combat bundle. I think it's the combat bundle overall, it's my favorite one. I think it's very strong in every game, regardless of what else you're doing, regardless of what kind of setup you're playing. By the way, there are 3 main ways to play Maracaibo: easy, medium, and hard. I play most of my games in medium, but I play a lot of them in hard too. I don't play many of them in the easy setup. I find it a bit boring, but everything that I'm gonna say here should work in all of them to a certain extent. So, the combat bundle is strong because combat is very strong. Combat is gonna give you more coins early on, it's gonna give you lots of points later on, and basically not combating is not an option in Maracaibo overall. So I would say that a Sailor is one of the best cards to start off your game. Best one of the non-assistant ones, actually. The assistants are pretty strong at the start of the game, but the Sailor is pretty good. That's why I'm placing it in a combat bundle, but of course it works very well in the synergy bundle too. When you have more anchor synergies, you really want to get a harbor, of course. In my opinion, the harbor is better than the house one for sailors, even though in general, I think that in general the harbor is a bit better. We're gonna discuss about it later on. But with Sailor, the house is also pretty fine because the Conquer Village is better when you're already combating. So these 2 are just like combat cards and are among the best cards to open the game. Let's discuss about the Quest Hunter instead. The Quest Hunter, as you see, there is no like quest bundle, because I think that quests are like a bit of a glue that can hold different strategies. Quests are, in my opinion, I divide quests in 3 kinds. The first one are quests that are gonna unlock discs. These are good regardless of your strategy early on, are very, very good if you can get them for cheap. The second group are the combat quests. Combat quests are amazing. They are incredibly strong because combat is very strong. They're a free action that is useless, that is very useful regardless of what else you're doing. And in the third tier, there are all the other quests. Quest Hunters work really well with all the quests that give you coins multiplied by the number of compasses, and with all the combat quests, because with the combat quests they are basically sailors, and sailors are very good. And with the other quests you're gonna gain a lot of coins, which work really well in both this card spamming kind of strategy and in the synergy kind of strategy, where you want to play big cards that have synergy and that are gonna give you lots of points directly or lots of points during the income. So overall, I think this card falls pretty much in the synergy bundle. I always try to use the synergy of these guys, otherwise I'm not gonna play them because it's so hard to rely on quests. There's only one career card that really needs lots of quests, like 6 if you really want the points. For the other career cards, you can just be happy with 2, 3, 4 for being ideal. The thing is, with quests you cannot plan too much because you just play with the cards you're dealt. Of course, you really need, if you want to play a bit into quests, you need both the unlock to get cards for free from the tableau and the unlock for 6 cards in your hand. But they just fall in the synergy bundle because I don't believe that there is a quest bundle. They are pretty good both, again, in the synergy bundle, but they can also help you quite a bit in the card spamming strategy because they can give you lots of coins thanks to the quests. Then there's the Explorer, of course, the Pioneer actually, not Explorer. The Pioneer goes firmly into the Explore bundle. The Explore bundle overall, I don't think it's as good as the Compact bundle because it doesn't stack as well. So, if you have 2 Explorers, or if you have, not 2 Explorers, if you have 2 Pioneers or 1 Pioneer and an Explorer, you're good. You don't need much else in the Explore bundle. There are going to be other cards that can help you exploring, and with exploring, the most important thing you should bring home from this video is that you really don't need to explore till the end of the track. You normally really want to reach the first barrier easily. It's a bit like getting ahead of the red flags on the rails in Great Western Trail. If you can get it in a few actions, like 2 actions, then it's very good. If you can do it in 1 action, it's amazing. If you need any more than that, like 3 action, that's pretty bad. So you really would like to cross this barrier, and sometimes you want to cross this other barrier, and mostly you also want to take some of the quests. So the big value in this strategy, in my opinion, is passing the barrier first, getting quests, and passing the first barrier. You don't have to get till the end. If you're playing in hard mode, like in this game, unlocking the city is amazing, so you really want to go as fast as you can over here, but then you can stop. So that's why you don't need to get too many explore bundle cards, because they don't stack as well. The combat cards instead, they stack really well if you're playing at least in medium, where you have the silver fleet, where you can leave a cube and advance 3 times and get 8 coins, which is a very strong way to get back on a track you've been left behind. This is, in my opinion, a very strong action for people who have less combat actions overall, but that can stack a few combat points. You can do that with a city that gives you +3, you can do it with this city, you can do it with synergy cards. There's also the gold mine, but it's not nearly as good as the silver fleet, in my opinion. The silver fleet is very strong. Also, if you go for the combat bundle, you will always need to unlock this slot here, upgrade the cannons. It's nice that they gave them names on the BGA implementation. I don't think the physical game has names for these actions. Normally, you really want to unlock this action. In this game, I didn't, because I was doing something else, I guess. I didn't even explore. I was doing some card spamming, yeah. So, that's it for the Explore bundle. This is just an intro. And here is the Master Builder. Master Builder is probably the single most discussed about card in Maracaibo. There are some players that think it's useless, some players that think it's incredibly strong. It's a good card. Card spamming, I think, depend more on incidental village actions you can get from your assistant than from discounts by itself. But of course, card spamming stacks really well, so a lot of Master Builders are good. This card, I'm already placing it here because it's insane. Governor Hernandez by itself can help a card spamming strategy. This card is just insane. -2 discount on all cards is pretty good. It doesn't mean you have to always play it, but it's very rare that it's not worth it. It gives also 2 steps on Spain, which normally are worth at least something like 6 points or so. So this card is just very good. These 2 cards are the cornerstones of the card spamming bundle, along with assistants that give you extra village actions, and along with some other cards that we are going to see. So I would say that while the combat bundle and explore bundle work really well with the synergy bundle, the card spamming bundle can work decently well, but it doesn't need to. So the other two strategies, they kind of mesh well with the synergy bundle, but the card spamming bundle by itself doesn't do that well. I mean, you want some coins income, but you don't need. I've won games with just the basic 8 coins income. It's of course very uncommon, but it can happen. These two cards are just cards that are good by themselves, and I would place them actually in the card spamming, even though they are a bit costly. They are not really cheap. All the cards that don't require figures and that do things by themselves without needing synergy are normally pretty strong in the card spamming bundle. The card spamming bundle is gonna have lots of cards in it, so as we're going to see. Then there are these 3 different cards that are actually 6, but I didn't get all of them because they are not needed. They are what I call the 3 cube special, which are amazing early game. They cost 10 coins but no figure, which is very important, and they give you both a coins and a points income on top of getting you better at combat, explore, and questing. So they're all very good. But again, it might surprise you, but I'm gonna place this one actually in the card spamming bundle. I think card spamming can work really well with quests every now and then. And again, every card that can give you something without requiring figures, I think goes pretty well in the card spamming. But I would say that this card, I could actually... Can I add a tier? I'm sorry. I had to stop everything because the website basically stopped working. So now I'm back. I'm also doing a bit of change in the order of the tiers. I will try to put some order rankings instead of inside of the single tiers. So let's see how it works. Because all the 3 cube special are high priority if you can play them. Early on they're amazing. Later on you might have things more specific to play. This is more something that is important to say about Maracaibo. Early on you really are happy to play many cards that are generally good, but later on you most of the time want to focus because you have some avenues to make points that are better than others. This one is another very good card in general. It's not amazing. The herb discount doesn't come into play much because there are not that many quests that require herbs. The most required resources, if I remember correctly, were telescopes and maps, followed by books, and herbs are like the last one. Then we have Mark the Parrot, again, a weird card. It's very good only if you have, of course, herbs in hand, which goes very well with the doctor, and if you're combating, and if you have extra village action around. If you can play it, he's good. There's not much to say about him because he's so niche that when you can play it, you know that it's gonna be good. You don't have to go out of your hand to play him. There are better plays overall. Gloria is very good in card spamming just because normally she costs 0 thanks to discounts, and the extra book she provides can be good for quests every now and then. This guy, I don't remember his name, is very good. He's very good in both card spamming and in the combat bundle overall. It doesn't give you an income, which makes it a bit worse than these 3 cards early on, but later on it's actually potentially better because it gives you 1 more point and it costs only 5 coins, so it's very good also in card spamming. Again, there's a lot of overlap between the different bundles, so this one is very good in both the combat and the card spamming one. Now, we can finally talk about assistants. Assistants are good, but they have diminishing returns, and the diminishing returns are very fast. So the first assistant is normally very good. The second one can be good, depending on what you're doing. Is normally better if you're doing card spamming than if you're going for the synergy bundle. I will quickly explain why. With the card spamming strategy, you get more points just by taking more stops to play more village actions, which means more cards in general, while the synergy bundle works really well if you can play cards enough to get a high income, and then you really want to take that income. So you don't really want to drag the game too much when you're going for a synergy bundle, because you really rank up points in the end of round phase. So if somebody else is going for card spamming, you want to go faster than them with the synergy, because you need less village actions overall, less actions overall, and you want the end of the round faster. So there's that. So that said about assistants, all the assistants have different functions, I would say. The shark loan is the loan shark is not an amazing one, but it can be pretty good early on. Its 5 coins and 3 points are worth a stop early on. Later on, you might actually want to skip it every now and then. It depends if you really need coins or not, of course, and if you have another good stop. I think it works really well in both the synergy bundle and the card spamming one, just because you need more coins, but I would say that overall it's better in the card spamming one. So that's where I'm going to place him. As you can see, I'm basically discussing about cards by placing them in the synergy bundles, but I'm not delving too deep into what they do. The synergy bundle can be intended as the bundle that gives you income in both coins and points. This guy, well, all the different mercs have different actions and different usefulness. Let's just say that. This one, I think, firmly goes into the synergy bundle. It gives you 1 figure, 1 disc removal, which is very important, because when you get 1 disc removal, you can basically compare this one to an action. And this one gives you the Santiago action, which is an amazing action. The only problem with Santiago is its position, because in the medium and easy setup, you cannot reach Maracaibo from Santiago. In hard, it can become better again, but for example, in 4 players, if you go to Santiago, you're not sure you can hit either Santo Domingo or Puerto Plata, leaving a disc there, because the other 3 players might go there, so you might want to go just for lots of actions. So just keep that in mind. Santiago action is very good, and here you get Santiago action at the end of the loop, which is normally decent, because you can play more cards just before the end of the round. And remember which bundle wants you to play more cards just before the end of the round? Yeah, that's the synergy bundle. You want to play synergy cards, cards that give you income, close to the end of the round, of course. So this guy, I think, firmly goes here. But in general, once again, the first assistant, I think, is pretty good. The late assistants are normally a bit better in the card spamming bundle, but I think that 1 single action is useful whatever plan you're doing. So this guy is just good. This guy is kinda medium, I think. I don't think I played him much. This guy over here, he's in a weird spot, and not only that, it gives you 2 action and 1 advancement, which is again overall useful, but I would say way less useful than this guy. I still put it in the synergy bundle. I honestly don't use this guy much. I use the other assistants way more. This one is in the middle of the pack to me. This one is amazing if you can combo it off with... I mean, amazing, maybe it's too much, but it's very cheap. It's 6 coins for 2 points and gives you 2 combat points, which are always good because, again, you want to go combating again. And it works really well with all the assistants on the 7, 8, and 9 spaces. So this one is, again, in the synergy bundle. Also, remember that the same synergy token has diminishing returns, so having more than 1 medal doesn't do that much for you. So normally when I go for assistants, I try to go for 2 different ones if I'm doing some kind of bundle. This one is not that good. It's still in the synergy bundle, in my opinion. It's not that good because it requires... Oh no, this one is actually very strong, sorry. And this one, in my opinion, goes instead in the card spamming one, even though it's good also in the synergy bundle. But it's in the card spamming because it gives you 2 action and the coins to be able to still play cards at the end of the round. This one is in a convenient position too. It's on step 19, which is alright. And you just need to have 6 cards in your hand and to have unlocked the take cards from the display unlock. And he's actually one of my favorite ones, this one. These two guys have actually different functions. I think they are all good in the card spamming again, and I think they are really good at that. They are among my favorite ones. But they depend a lot on which version of the game you're playing. It depends if you're playing easy, medium, or hard. Because when you're playing easy or medium, having a guy on 2 that lets you play village actions before taking action during the loop is amazing, and you can go straight up to Maracaibo from him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which is very, very important. While the 10-1 is worse on easy and medium, but it's better on hard, because on hard you can go on one of the 2 cities, Puerto Plata and Santo Domingo. You don't have to stop on Santiago. You can take a very useful action here, and then you can jump through this part of the loop with 3 extra movement points and hit 10, which is very good. Also, these 2 cards, remember, they give you a discount lock, and a discount lock make it like a city, and cities are good because of the unlocks. So they're both very, very good. I like them a lot. It's a bit tricky to get them out early on. Just remember that their position is very, very relevant. They work better in, again, a card spamming strategy overall. Actually, they're way better than all these other cards, in my opinion. Yeah, doing the inside rankings is not going to be easy, but these ones are some of the best, in my opinion, card spamming bundle cards. So I'll just place them accordingly. These 2 guys instead are not something I really like. They are not bad by themselves. They are on step 6 and 7, if I remember correctly. They will let you discard 3 goods for coins, points, and either combat points or an advancement on the nation tracks. They are decent. The thing is that normally I want actions to play village actions, to play cards at the beginning of the loop. I don't really want to get many coins here. I want to spend coins here because I just got them from my income. So these guys are actually middling, and I would actually place them in the synergy bundle part. They're alright. It's not that they're bad. Also, it's pretty tricky to have the requirement this early in the loop, in my opinion, in my experience. So they're okay-ish. If you really don't have other assistants, I think playing one of these is fine. But otherwise, I try to stay away from them. Now, the other big Explore bundle card is the Explorer. I would just place it over here because I cooled down a bit on him. Back in the days, I thought it was one of the best assistants overall, but now I think he's really good only on hard mode. On the other 2 modes, I think you can play without exploring, you can do decently well, or you can just explore a little thanks to Pioneers, which are good regardless because of the synergy and because of the income. This one is good, of course, because it gives you a, I don't know, Sow an Axe kind of icon, which is good with the Harbor, because it gives you points income, which makes it at least decent for that reason alone. It works really well in the Synergy bundle. It doesn't work really well with the card spamming bundle, because you don't really want to spend an action on exploring. You want to spend actions on combating and on playing cards, in my opinion, when you're going for card spamming mainly. So I cooled down a bit on it because I cooled down a bit on exploration in general. I think exploration is good. It's just that you don't want to go all in on it. So sometimes you don't need to delve too deep into Explore bundle. You just want this guy and that's it, in my opinion. This one is a very weird one. I actually have no idea where to place it. My honest opinion about it is that she's just not good. That's my actually opinion on it. She's not that good because you really don't want to play many assistants, and if you go all in on it, I think all the other strategies are better than going all in on her. She's very good with this guy, for example, because you can gain 4 points and coins, and that's good. So you can have at some point this one plus a late assistant like this guy and this one and rank up some points. But in my opinion, she's almost never worth it. So she's going to be a bad card in most games. I think you should explore her, because it's nice to try to see if she works in some games. But my opinion right now is that she's not worth it in pretty much any game. Then there are the two main. I would place them at the beginning because they are very good at that. Two of the main payoff of the synergy bundles. These two cards can be amazing. Normally the Harbor is, in my opinion, a bit better. Because a lot of the assistants that I like a lot are the Sow and Axe assistant. But now that I look at the rankings, actually there are quite a lot of medal ones. The main thing you should play Harbor for is the point income. So you should really have a Sow and Axe, and here you should really have a medal. But it's also very nice, of course, to combo them with the guys that require an Anchor or a House. Just because that can make your game overall better. So a very fast and easy synergy bundle strategy would be to play an Anchor Pioneer, an Explorer, and on the third round the Harbor. You can sprinkle some other cards in between, but these three cards already make a good bundle and doesn't require you to stop too much. The same can be said, for example, for a Sailor and one of the Shipbuilders. That can work pretty well too. So these two cards are the main payoff, and as you can see, they are high cost cards. They cost either 15 or 16 coins. In my opinion, they are played most of the time on the third round, at the end of the third round, but they can be played at the end of the second round if you find some time for that, and they can be amazing at that. Once again, it's very good if you can speed up the game a bit when you go for synergy cards. Then there's the first white bordered card, which is the Admiral. The Admiral, in my opinion, is amazingly good. In the card spamming bundle, I think he's easily one of the best cards you can play in the card spamming bundle, because again, with card spamming, I think most of the time you just want to play cards and combat. And this one rewards you for combating a lot and gives you 3 village actions. Sometimes I'm placing it in the card spamming bundle and not in the combat bundle, because on spot 19, to be able to really leverage the 3 village actions, you really need to go hard on card spamming, in my opinion. Otherwise, 3 village actions can be overkill. But I would say that in general, he's pretty good. Just remember that he's good late-ish. While these two guys, the Shipbuilders, are very good early on, this guy, I think, is gonna be good from the third round on, because at that point, you're gonna get something like 5 or even 6 points out of him, and really leverage the 3 village actions. Basically, early on, I think that 3 village actions can be overkill, and you're not gonna gain much out of the combat token. Also, it does cost 13 coins, which means that first you really want to have a strong either income or discount strategy going. These two guys are some of the main payoffs of the card spamming bundle, but they can also work pretty well with the synergy bundle at the end of the game. These are two cards that are just very good in general at the end of the game. They give you straight up 5 points, which is of course very good later on. It's not good early on because normally income in points is going to give you more, and they're very good at like clinching that 10 points unlock, the legendary treasure unlock at the end of the game, or just giving you one more step that can be worth like 8 or even 10 points close to the end of the game. So these cards are just good at the end of the game. You can, in my opinion, pretty much ignore them for the first half of the game at least, and probably for the first 3 quarters. Basically, I'm really happy to play them only on the first round normally. They are still very good, which is why I'm placing them pretty high, but they're not that great before that point. Then there's Ruin, Ruin is another nice crossover card, in my opinion. There are two Ruins, one that costs, I think, 9 and the other one 11, but I might be wrong, and they might be 7 and 9. And they work nicely in the synergy bundle sometimes, but most of the time they work really well in the card spamming bundle, just because you have normally lots of combat action and you cannot use most of them. So you can just use the last action to fulfill a Ruin while not like wasting an action on taking a quest. Taking quests, I would say that most of the time I never take a quest that's not like a combat quest or a disc removal quest outside of Puerto Cabezas or outside of the exploration track. So all the, like this one, all the random ones that pop up on the board, I try to never take them. I don't think they are worth it. I think overall the quest package is not very good unless you're going very slow. But sometimes this can give you like more coins thanks to the quest. And that can work really well. Again, it can work very well in the synergy bundle too when you have like some small extra actions like 2 village action close to the end. And you also have the house, and you have Conquer Village, and you have a medal. So this one is a nice crossover between these two bundles. I still think it works better when you have a lot of village actions lying around, but it's just good overall. These two, this one firmly goes here, I think, and this one firmly goes here. And I actually like her more than a lot of people give her credit for. Let's just discuss them by themselves. So this one, I would place her over here because I think that you really need some other synergy from the Explore bundle to really leverage her. If you're just taking some steps in the late game down here, she's definitely not worth it. But if you had some Explore bundle, or if you got some Explore steps in the early game, she can be amazing later on to just incidentally get a few steps. Also, these two cards are both good, and this other card down here, where's the merchant? Because the merchant is over here too. They all work pretty well with the card spamming bundle too, because again, you have extra, same as for Ruin, you have some extra village actions lying around. You might not be able to play all the cards, because even though you have some discounts, you don't have enough to play something like 5 cards per loop. So having a way to dump extra cards for coins, and here for some extra steps which can be converted into coins or into points, which is even better, is very good, both because you can get rid of some cards from your hand that doesn't fall that well in the card spamming bundle. Maybe they require figures and you don't have them anymore because it's late and you've spent your early figures already. But just in general, they can give you something to do with the extra village actions, and they work really well with the card spamming bundle. Again, this one, I really like the native. I know a lot of people don't, but I really like the native, and I think she's pretty good late-ish. All these 3 cards are pretty good late-ish, honestly, because you already need to have some extra village actions lying around, or if you really need already to have some synergy with exploration going to have them work really well. But if you have all these other conditions, they are pretty good. They're just not as good as the other cards in the bundles. The Trapper. The Trapper is another Explore bundle card. The Trapper is not a card that I love. She's good early game if you can skip over the opponents, but early game you really want the Pioneers way more, because you really want the extra 2 coins income early on. And later on she can give you points, but in my experience it's very hard that more than one person is going hard on exploration, or maybe there are only 2, but how many times can you jump on them? I mean, it's true that you don't need many times, like already 2 times will make this one a 5-point card, which is very nice for 7 coins, but it's just not amazing overall. I like her in the card spamming bundle too, because she costs 7 coins and give you 3 points, which can be good, but overall, I think she can be really strong, but she's just very niche. You don't have many. There aren't many times where you can use her to your advantage. Now, one of my favorite cards, Fort something. I don't remember the correct name. It's in a combat bundle, but actually works once again really well in the card spamming one because it doesn't cost figures. And this one is deceptively powerful. Let's talk why it's powerful. It gives you another village action, another combat action. For 2 combat points, you can get 1 step on the nations and 2 victory points. Why is it good? 2 reasons mainly. One, it's very good at piggybacking. So at jumping back on a track where somebody is ahead of you, you don't really want to place cubes down because you're gonna help the other players more than you're helping yourself. But having another village action for 2 points only means that you can, for example, take 5 here and another 2 and take 3 steps without placing cubes and 2 victory points. Or if you're playing on one of your tracks, and by your I mean one track where you're ahead, if you have a lot of combat points, you can spend 2 and 2 and 2, like 6 combat points to advance 3 times and place down a cube, which is also very good. So basically it gives you a lot of combinations late game. This card is good late game. It's too expensive early on, so it's good I think from the 3rd round on. But it's very good to, again, piggyback or just to hammer your own track. It's very versatile in that. And the action is strong, giving you 2 victory points each time. So, I think this card is one of my favorite ones. It's, again, pretty niche, but you're going to go combat most of your games, in my opinion. So, there aren't many games in which it's not that useful. This card is a very niche one, but it can be strong every now and then. It's definitely in the synergy package. It needs the medal to really be worth it. It gives you 2 coins income, which is alright, and the map is actually very relevant for questing, but again, the problem with questing is that you can't play in advance too much for it. So of course, if you have something like 2 quests over here, and you're already exploring, and you need the maps, and you have no other ways to get maps, then yeah, she's good. But otherwise, it's too expensive to rely on her for the map, so you just play her for the 2 victory points income and the 2 coins, and at that point, she's just worse than the Doctor, for example. Doctor costs 1 coin more, but it doesn't require synergies. So, she's again a bit niche. I think she's fine. This one is one of the worst cards in the game, in my opinion. This one and the other one, the 2 coins one and the 1.1. Again, I don't believe you need to play lots of assistants, and you cannot rely too much on people stopping on your assistant. And this one only gives you 2 points for 7 coins, and the other one I think gives you 3 points for 9 coins. It's still decent in the card spamming bundle just because it gives you some incidental points and doesn't cost much and doesn't cost figures, but I honestly don't feel like he's too good. Sometimes there are very weird games when there are like 3 people going for the Explorer or 3 people going for assistance on the 19 spot, but overall it's very disappointing. Then there are all the Pinnes card. The Pinnes card come in different forms. There are ones that reward you for combat tokens, for quests, for synergy tokens, etc. The best one is this one for combat tokens, and I think she goes again in this card spamming bundle. It gives you some income in coins and some points. There is nice tension in playing this one early. There's also the other one that costs 11 coins and gives you 4 income in coins. There is a nice tension in playing these cards early on to get the income and later on to get the points. I think that it depends a lot on tactical decisions, basically. The 4 income, of course, is better a bit earlier, and the 2 income is better later, but they are both fine. They're, again, fine cards, not amazing. I would place them probably just below Gloria. They can be better. I mean, they can be amazing in your game. It's just, again, they are pretty niche. Actually, this one goes over here, I think. It's not great. Then there's the, I don't remember, Counselor, I think that's his name. And this is definitely a pure synergy card that can be amazing. Like 4 or 5 incoming points is very good, is at the level of the Harbor. But you need to have the Conquer Village already played. So when you see this card, if you have the house, it's going to be amazing if you're going for synergy bundles and going fast-ish. It's just a very good card. It's also good if you have a bit more village action going on, because it's not that expensive. It's better than this one. I would say better than these two guys. I wouldn't say it's better than the other cards in this tier. Moving on. You have this guy here. I think that's the Preacher, but I might be wrong. It's a pure synergy card. All the cards that give you these extra icons can be decent, but it's very hard to rely too much on them. I like them in combo. For example, I didn't say something about this girl over here. She's very good with the native. If you have a native going on, you have a constant need for maps, so they go very well hand in hand. But that's basically it. This guy, books are not that required actually, and the synergy can be good. I think this card is only good very late in the game, like on the 4th round when you know you're gonna get a crown. He can be pretty good. There are some games in which you are gonna find a prestige building before the 4th round, but they are not that common in my experience, so you don't rely on having the crown before that point. And this one is only good if you both have the crown and the house, so a very niche card once again. I played it in one of my most recent games, maybe in this one. No. I played it in one of my most recent games and I was happy with it on the last round, but it's not that common. This guy instead is another synergy card, but he's nicer. He's nicer in kind of the same way the Admiral can be, or Captain, I don't remember the name. They all mesh. Maybe this one is the Captain. It can be worth more points than this one, and actually it is most of the time if you have the synergy token, but it can be very amazing on the 3rd round, for example, when you know that you're probably going to need an unlock. It's a late game card, of course, but it can be... I think it goes close to the Counselor in level power. I think these two cards are late game-ish cards that can be amazing, depending on the synergy tokens you get. This is, I think, the Priest, and it goes in the same tier as the Preacher. They are only good late game, in my opinion. They can be very good because they can give you lots of points on the last round, but it's very hard to get a crown before that point. We'll talk about a way to get a crown before that point, which can work pretty well, but not now. This is like the Privateer Raid. This is definitely in the combat bundle. I know it has a synergy. No, it goes on the other side. It has a synergy token, which requires the Harbor, which makes it good with the synergy bundle, but it's definitely a combat card because you need... This is one for the combat points. There are many different ways you can play this card, but you need some combat points. I think this one is actually decent, but these cards are never amazing because most of the time I have good ways to spend the extra combat points, so that's a bit unfortunate. This is another very good card only in the synergy bundle. I think it's above many of the other cards because I've been relying on it for quite a while. It costs 2 figures, which is a steep cost, but it can give you an amazing amount of points if you play it on the 3rd round. Like if you've been able to go for like Pioneer plus Explorer 1st round, 2nd round Harbor, and 3rd round Expedition, you're really jump-starting your end of round income. So this one is one of my favorite cards. It's still very niche, but if you can pull off this kind of start, then it's amazingly good. So I like it quite a bit. This card is another oddball, I would say. It's pretty good. in this kind of cards, but it's not amazing. It's never a linchpin of my strategy. It gives you some coin income, some points income, but it has a hefty requirement, which makes it a bit niche. All these cards that require you to discard 3 matching goods are good if you really need to recycle, but it's a very tactical decision, so it's not an overall strategic decision. The Priest is good sometimes in the card spamming strategy, in my opinion. It's not a synergy card, even though it requires a synergy token, just because crowns are very hard to get early on. But this giving you two figures can be very good in the card spamming strategy when you run out of figures. It's still not incredible. It works really well with this guy down here, the Hostel Warden. It's a very nice combo that I pulled off and I was very proud of, but it doesn't come up that often. This is like the Merchant or Mercantile Expedition, don't remember the name. It's another synergy card. I would place it close to this guy because it's basically the same. You need to discard 3 matching goods. It depends if you have the harbor or not. It can be amazing in the early game because it can give you 6 overall production, but again, it's not easy to pull it off, so I wouldn't rely too much on it. Then there's this guy. This guy is another synergy card in my opinion. Even though there's a shipbuilder on it, it doesn't have anything to do with shipbuilders. It's the same as this merc here. It works really well because it leads you on 10. You can go straight up to Maracaibo or to Cartagena or Port Royal, which are pretty good. You can also go to 11A if you've explored enough. There's not much to say about these cards. It gives you 3 points, it costs 11, and it gives you 4 points, which can make it good also in the card spamming bundle. But overall, it's not an amazing card. It's just a point card that you can play, and you will probably never skip it, but it's just 1 point more than skipping the assistance, so it doesn't give you much. It can work if you have no other synergy going, but in my opinion, it's actually pretty low. I would say he's over here. It can be good in some games, but it's not something you will plan for a lot of the time. This one is another synergy card, but in my opinion is very bad. Why? I mean, 4 points are a lot, of course, but late in the game you normally have stops that give you more than 4 points. This one is basically only good if you were able to explore a bit in the early game thanks to other cards, like thanks to Pioneers and a Native, and in the late game you might need some more steps tactically to advance a bit more, but in my opinion the Explorer is an early game card and you really want to play it early game, and this one is just better. 2 coins and 3 steps are better than 4 points and 2 steps in the early game by far. So in my opinion this one doesn't work that well. Even though it can give you quite a few points, it's not usual that you really want to take this action. If you need it, you will know it, but in my opinion he's just not that great. Then there's this card, I don't remember its name. It's another combat bundle card, and it's actually a pretty good one. I would place it just behind Fort, but this can work really well along the card spamming bundle too, or along the synergy bundle. It's another crossover card. It gives you an action that it costs 1 combat point and gives you 3 coins and 2 points if you have the correct synergy token, either the Anchor or the House. It's pretty good because it's also worth 4 points. It's another late game-ish card. I think it's pretty rare to play it before the 3rd round. You need some combat point source before you're able to play it, but it doesn't cost much, and it goes well with playing more cards. So it's a nice card. It's nothing to write home about, though. There's this guy, I think it's the Drill Master, and in my opinion, he can be decent, but in most of my games he hasn't been. Like, he's good if you really need 3 village actions, but other sources of good village actions late in the game are overall better. I like both this guy and the Admiral way more than I like the Drill Master, and that's because spending 2 combat points is actually a very relevant cost. It doesn't give you any synergy token. Yeah, it gives you 5 coins just before playing village actions, which is of course amazing, but at that point I really like this guy more. just because I don't really want to spend combat points in general. I think that's generally my take on this card. I think that combat points, it's okay to spend combat points early-ish, but this card is a late game one because 3 village actions are late game-ish, and I'm not sure. It's again a bit niche. He can be good. He can be good. If you don't have other assistants giving you extra actions in the late game, he can be good. But it's very niche. You need extra combat points lying around, and that's not always easy. Then there's the Martyr, which is a combat bundle card, and actually a very good one at it. He's a late game card, but this card can give you a surge of combat points that can actually change the overall late game by quite a bit. If you have extra figures lying around, he's a powerhouse. It can give you more points thanks to the income, which is alrightish, but his power comes from having you do wrecking havoc late game on the nation tracks. So in my opinion, he's actually strong. I wasn't sure he was strong, but he's very strong. He's very strong also with the priest. That's another nice synergy you can have going. This one will give you basically 4 combat points, which can be good. It's not always amazing. Then there are 2 other early-ish game assistants. They are not that good in my opinion. Once again, they go in the same tier as this one. I basically don't really like assistants that only give you coins and points, or coins and combat points, or things like that. I think they can work every now and then, but early on, I'm not sure I want them, because the requirement is not that easy to fulfill when you don't have the 6th hand, or when you don't have the take free cards from the display. And later on, I want a village action more than I want resources. So these ones are just in the middle of the pack, in my opinion, to me. Then there's the best card for the synergy bundle by a considerable margin, in my opinion. Why is this card so good? Because it costs a lot and it gives you lots of points. And normally when you're going heavy on the synergy bundle, you really want to have chances to play cards like this. So, cards that cost a lot of coins, don't require many combat actions, many village actions, so you can just play it at the end of the round and spend all of your coins on it. It can give you the synergy token you're missing if you don't have the proper one, like Harbor or Conquer Village. It gives you 4 points income regardless. So, again, it doesn't need another synergy token, and it's the main way you can get a crown before the 4th round, in my opinion, if you really need it. Like, if you play it on the 3rd round and get a crown because you already have other synergy going, then this card is good. So, overall, I think this card is... It's not the best card overall in this pool, but it's the best card for the synergy bundle, in my opinion. It fixes all of your holes and it gives you a constant source of points. And a way to play one single card. The main difference between the synergy bundle and the card spamming bundle is that this one wants to get points from few cards, while this one wants to get points from many cards. That's the main difference, in my opinion. Then there are the galleons. The galleons are just crazy good, in my opinion. If you can get them early on, you can really plan your game around them. Of course, the other players can piggyback you, but getting 2 combat points per action for only 7 coins, and the card itself is worth 3 points, it's crazy good, in my opinion. They are all very, very, very good and high picks, the galleons, in my opinion. They work really well in the card spamming bundle too, because again, they don't cost much and they give you 3 points. So overall, I would say that these cards are amazing. Then there's this card, which is very hard to use. It's not in the combat bundle, in my opinion, but it's in the synergy bundle. It's not high in this bundle. I would place it probably something like that. But the Gravedigger can be good if you have one of these cards, basically. So if you have a card that gives you a medal and coins, you can play him early on and leverage the extra 5 income of coins, and that can be very good. So it works, it's again between the synergy bundle and the combat bundle, but he can be very good in niche situation, which is why he's so low. But if you're in that niche, then it can work pretty well. So Remember that. Then there's the Privateer Raid, or whatever it is called. It's only for combat points, so I have to place it in a combat bundle, but it's once again, in my opinion, not that great. I don't like to convert all these combat points into extra income. I think it can work every now and then, but normally, let's frame it this way. If I'm going for synergy and for combat, normally I look to go fast-ish on the loop. And if I got fast-ish, I probably don't have incidental village actions I can use to play my extra cards. So I actually prefer to spend my combat points on combat actions and my coins on synergy cards at the end of the round. So that's why I don't think this one fits that well into this overall plan. I think I played once and I haven't been pleased with it. So overall I would say that this card is pretty bad. Then there's this one is really not a combat bundle card. It's really not a synergy card. I really think it fits very well in the card spamming one, and given its raw power, I would place it very high. This one, I don't remember the name of it. It's like Conqueror or something. It brings you to the next noble rank, and that alone can be worth something like 10 to 12 points if you're choosing the correct nation. So this card is bonkers late game, but you can also play it on the third round to recover a bit on a track. In my opinion, it's very good at piggybacking, but it can be good also if your track is neglected. You're the only one going on it, but you know that you will be able to place down some cubes on it, because this one also forces you to place one cube down. I think this one is just a very strong card for the card spamming bundle because it's very easy to be able to piggyback on combat on somebody else. So this card is very good in my opinion. This one is another card good in the card spamming bundle, and I think it's even better than the last one. Your plan with this one is to gain 6 points. There are many ways to do that, but the easiest ones are just piggybacking a bit thanks to the 5 cost village actions and reach the third tier, and then thanks to exploration reach the first barrier and gain 3 steps. Sometimes you can get 9 points out of it, which will feel awesome, but most of the time it's not worth it because you need to invest more in at least one nation to gain more points out of it. It's also very good when your career card nudges you toward advancing on more nations. There are at least 2 career cards that I remember of that will not force you, but nudge you towards going for different countries. Then there's this card, which is a very funny one. In my opinion, it works really well in the card spamming bundle, even though it costs a lot of figures. But the thing is, when you're going for the synergy bundle, you're normally spending figures on sailors, pioneers, and quest hunters. While this one is very nice if you have some figures going around, because it's a one card that doesn't cost much. It costs, if I remember correctly, like 6 or 8 coins. It's only good in the early game, but if you can play it for 3 figures, it can be very, very good. Like 6 extra coins early on can be very good. I had a very nice game in which I was able to play him on the first round. This one along with the priest. And the priest gave me 2 figures, and along with my starting figures, I had +8 income without spending too many coins. So this one, no, I think it's not as powerful as other cards over here. But I think it can be very powerful early on. It can let you explode. It comes with a very restrictive requirement, because the figures are not spent. They will stand on this card, which means that they count towards your overall cap of 8 figures, I think, you have in a game. So you have to be a bit careful, but in my opinion, it hasn't been a big deal most of the time. So when you can play this card early on, it can be amazing. Sometimes it's just a whiff, and you're gonna be fine with it. So it's niche, but it's very powerful, which is why I place him in the middle of the pack. Then there's this card, which is a bit in the combat bundle, but I think it's bad again. So do you remember when I said that, for example, Martyr can combo pretty well with Priest because it can give you 4 victory points. But the thing with Martyr, 4 combat points, the thing with Martyr is that it's versatile, while this one is very one-dimensional, and it costs, I think, 11 coins, which are a lot. So it can work really well if you're planning for the Silver Fleet and you know you're gonna get it, because you're gonna get back the coins, and also if you have the synergy of the harbor, it can work pretty well. But otherwise, I think it takes you in too many different directions. You want to play it early-ish because of the income, but it costs quite a few coins, and the combat points are more relevant later on, in my opinion, unless you can hit the Silver Fleet. So a lot of conditions make him a bit unreliable, but I think it's still better than these 2 cards. And it can actually work with this one, funnily enough. If you have like 2 village actions and 2 combat points, you can play these 2 cards for 13 coins and gain a good income if you have the harbor synergy tokens. So they combo pretty well, but overall they are not great cards by themselves, in my opinion. This one is a very good instead synergy card, in my opinion. I think it's even before these cards. It combos really well with this guy over here, because it's not always very easy to get a Sow and Axe synergy token and a House synergy token, because they come from 2 different packages. So basically, Anchor and Sow and Axe go well together, and Medal and House go really well together, but they don't mix that much. This one is in the middle, but the overall power level of the card is very strong. So removing a disc in the early game and getting 4 more coins income is worth the 13 coins you have to spend on him. And if later on you can get the House, that's even better. So I think overall it works very nice in the synergy package. And it's just a very nice card in most of the games that I had. The last one is... But this is just another penis, isn't it? Yeah. This is another business. I don't know why it's here. Maybe it's because it's 4 coins, but I've already discussed about it. Alright, this video is already pretty long. I had to stop in the middle and then finish. Let's give you an overview of all the different tiers. I think you should be happy with this kind of guide, because it can help you decide what to play at which points in the game. It's not an overall guide, and it's not a real rankings, because I didn't discuss much about this card is more powerful, this card is not, because in Maracaibo I think most cards are playable, but it can work to help you out navigate through your games in the Caribbeans. Alright guys, that's it. Mario's out. See you next time. Bye bye.